Here's how to self-publish on a budget without sacrificing quality. Hey guys, I'm Marlene and welcome back to my channel. Just a reminder that my debut novel To Wear a Crown will be releasing in the second quarter of 2022, so if you want updates on that before anyone else, you should sign up for my newsletter linked in the description box below. So let's talk self-publication. It can be very expensive. So technically, self-publishing a book can be free, but if you want to put a quality product up there, a book that can stand with traditionally published books, then you're going to have to spend some money. So this list isn't going to tell you to forgo an editor or anything like that. I'm going to give you tips to save money without sacrificing anything on quality. So tip number one is to try to get a pre-made book cover. Unless you are a graphic designer, you shouldn't be designing your own book cover. I see this mistake happen so often, and it really is a big pitfall for self-publication because your book cover is your biggest marketing tool. People do judge books by their covers, so don't just slap something together on Canva, please. However, I know that it can be very, very expensive to have a custom book cover designed, especially if you want to publish your book in more than one format. So a great way to get around a lot of these costs is to try to find a pre-made book cover that suits your book. So don't just get any slapdash book cover that you find. Really try to get something that makes sense for your book. It won't always be possible, but it is definitely worth trying. Most covers are available for ebook, and most designers are then open to designing a full paperback or hardback spread. The site that I use is thebookcoverdesigner.com. You will find book covers with varying degrees of quality on that site, so don't go in and see the first book and think this site is rubbish, because it's just an aggregator. It's just like a marketplace for cover designers to display their work, and I found my beautiful cover for To Wear a Crown there. Unfortunately, I can't share that with you yet, but I will be doing so in the new year. So yeah, I will leave a link to that site in the description box below. This can end up reducing the cost of getting a good cover from around $400 to about $50 or even less than that. Then tip number two is learn to format the interior of your book yourself. Now you can pay someone to do the interior formatting of your novel, but this is really expensive. So it really pays off to be able to do it yourself, especially if you're going to publish more than one book. You can do that in the future and save money every time. For Mac users, Vellum, I hear, is amazing and super easy. Unfortunately, I'm on PC, and I also don't want to spend the money to buy a software. So yes, you'll have to learn a bit more skills, but personally, I think it's worth it. So for EPUB or MOBI, which is your ebook formats, there are a few free software options. The first is Reedsy, which is super easy to use. The only thing there is you don't have as much control over the types of fonts or how you want the chapter intro to look or things like that. They have very limited options, but if you just want a simple formatted ebook that is super easy to make, then Reedsy is the place for you. There's also Calibre, which is free, but it has a very steep learning curve, and I still do not understand what I'm doing on Calibre. And then the other one, which I use, is Draft2Digital. So Draft2Digital is actually an ebook aggregator, so you upload your book and then they put it on different marketplaces online to be purchased on those platforms. But they also offer the option to format your ebook on that system, so you can upload your Word document or your PDF and then use their very easy tools to convert that into an EPUB and MOBI file. While I'm at it, I'm talking about EPUB and MOBI. Be sure to get your ebook in both formats, because MOBI is for Kindle and EPUB is for most other ebook readers. And if you use MOBI for Kindle, then the not the printing price, but the distribution price, or whatever they call it, that Amazon takes off your book before you get royalties, so you don't get royalties on that amount, is higher. So if you upload a MOBI directly, then you will physically make more money off each ebook sale. So there's another money saving tip for you. And then for print books, I use Microsoft Word. Now, obviously, if you do not have access to Microsoft Word, that is a very expensive software to buy. But most people have Word, I think. I've always had Microsoft Word, and I format the interior of my print books in Word. And you can do very, very high quality formatting, and you have absolute control over what your book looks like. It can take a very long time. It can be very frustrating because Word thinks it knows what you want, but that isn't necessarily what you want. But if you just push through and you take the time to learn what to do, then I think this is a great money saving and the product looks great at the end. And you have full control over what that looks like. So, anything you can imagine that you want to do with the interior formatting, you can do. The third tip is to use beta readers and critique partners. So I know I said I won't be telling you to forgo an edit, but I might be telling you to forgo one type of edit: developmental. So this won't work for everyone. So if your book has major plot problems or issues with character development, then you will probably need a developmental edit before you publish. But it's always worth it to get critique partners and beta readers first, because they're free. So they read your book and give feedback for free. And they focus on the story in the same way that a developmental editor will. It's just from more of a reader's perspective rather than an editing perspective. But I mean, I think you are ultimately writing your book for readers. So plot-wise and character-wise, if readers are happy with it, I think you're fine. So it can be a great way to assess your plot and your characters without having to pay for anything. Keep in mind that it might be a bit more difficult to get actually useful information out of these people because they are not editors. This is not what they do for a living. So you might have to ask the right questions and kind of pull a little to get what you need out of them. But considering that they're doing it for free, that really isn't a lot. Now, if during the process you realize there are a lot of issues with your plot and with your character development and you're struggling to fix those issues yourself, then you can hire a developmental editor, but I wouldn't do so right off the bat. But if you have multiple rounds of beta readers and critique partners, maybe in alpha readers, and the feedback improves and you fix the problems that they highlight, you don't, in my opinion, also have to pay for a developmental editor. I should probably have prefaced this by saying a developmental editor is someone who looks at the big picture stuff of your book, so they look at plot and character development and things like that. So not the actual writing style, but the story itself. Then my fourth tip is don't create an audiobook, at least at first. So many self-published authors want to debut with a bang. They want their book to be available in every possible format right away. I agree with this in most respects, but not when it comes to audiobooks. I think the return on investment is quite low unless you are an absolute top bestseller, which you won't know beforehand. Especially with Audible screwing over authors with royalties. You can Google Audible Gates and you'll see all of that great information. The Alliance of Independent Authors is doing great work on that. Plus, it's very, very expensive to produce a high quality audiobook. You need to get an actual voice actor, a narrator. It's not just you sitting in front of your laptop recording your own book. So I think that if you publish a book and it does really, really well, and you make enough profit, maybe consider making an audiobook then. Tip number 5 is use free ISBNs. So every format of your book needs its own unique identification number, which we call an ISBN. So ebook, paperback, hardbook, audiobook, collector's edition. Everyone needs their own unique ISBN. So depending on the country you live in, you might need to buy ISBNs. Luckily, in South Africa, where I live, you can get them for free from the National Library, even though it has become an administrative nightmare to try to get them. At least they're free. But if you live in a country where you would have to buy an ISBN, I would suggest using the free ISBNs provided by Amazon. The only snag in this is that Amazon will be listed as the official publisher of the book. So if this is something that you don't want, if you want to build a career with your own publishing company or publishing name and you want it to be in your name, you'll have to use your own ISBNs. But if that is an issue for you, you don't mind, then it's great to be able to use those free KDP ISBNs. And then I have a little extra tip on how to save money when self-publishing, and that is if you are using Ingram Spark and KDP for your paperback or print books, hardback as well, because now KDP also has hardbacks. And the tip in that is to upload to KDP first. So upload your book once you think you're semi-done. I don't know what your process is with uploading and stuff like that, but upload your book to KDP with the cover and everything and order a proof copy of KDP. Then once you have that proof copy, go through everything and make sure everything is correct, and only then upload to Ingram Spark. This is because Ingram Spark charges a $50 fee, uploading fee, for every format of your book. So if you, for example, want to publish paperback and hardback, that's going to be $100 unless you can find some coupon code or voucher or something online, which isn't that easy to find, but it can be done. So make sure that you only have to pay that uploading fee once, because if you want to change something in your book, you have to pay, I think, a $25 fee every time you want to re-upload that file. So do the KDP one first. They do not charge you anything to upload or anything to change anything. So order that KDP proof, make sure everything is correct before you upload to Ingram Spark. But also keep in mind that Ingram Spark proofs take quite a while to arrive, so just give yourself enough time to do that whole thing. So yeah, those are some of my tips for saving money when self-publishing without sacrificing any of the quality. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you found it useful, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Remember to hit that subscribe button and ring that little bell if you want to be notified every time I upload. As always, you can find me on my website, Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter. All the links are listed below, and then I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!